Let's see here. How do you handle inspections if our product is sourced and manufactured overseas and we're inexperienced? So Jason, there are inspection companies that will do that for you. Now, there are some that you have to be careful of because they'll get bribes from the factory to lie about the condition. So you got to use a reputable one. A lot of these other ones that offer just to do it, the broker offers to do it, they want to make the sale, right? Like you've got to be careful. You want one that's going to protect you. So there are a couple ones out there. I think we have some recommendations for some for Inner Circle members. We might be able to share that with you. For everyone watching, we might have, so Chima or Kima is one that's recommended. I believe that we have an affiliate with them with a discount. We've spoken to them in the past, but they do inspections. They're a larger company. They're going to run you a little bit more than some of the local companies that you can find because they're a bigger company. But for the most part, I think they're pretty trustworthy. They have a good reputation. So Tim, generally you'll create the listing with general information, but you will keep it suppressed. So you're going to put, when you create the listing, put the launch and start date out into the future so that when you create it, you can still make labels because you still need to be able to print the FN SKU for the label. So you can create a shipment for that even though it's suppressed. So you do need to create the listing, but you want to do it so that it doesn't show up. So if you were to click on the link to the listing, it's going to show the Dogs of Amazon page, which is basically just a broken link because it's not live in Amazon's catalog. What that means is you're not accumulating any history. It's not alive in Amazon's catalog yet, so they're not expecting any results from it. The day it arrives and starts checking in inventory, and then you get inventory that is available, is when you can actually upload the rest of the content and then change the start and launch date to that day. When you change it to the current day, it goes live, and then you can start your launch. That's the most effective way to do a launch on Amazon. What I have in ASIN info put into supplier packaging. Yeah, so it depends. You can list it with either a UPC code. You choose based on your account settings whether you want to use the FN SKU or the ASIN or which is another product identifier, or the UPC code. So if you do a GTIN exemption, meaning you're not going to plan on selling this anywhere but Amazon, you create an internal SKU number, which is your identifier, your company identifier, and then you would use a label that has Amazon's FN SKU. If you are selling this wider and you've registered your UPC, your company to make UPC codes, then you would use a UPC code. So those are the different ways. This is like Amazon University stuff, like pretty. There are YouTube videos on some of these things, like they're pretty, it's pretty initial setup type stuff. So if you get stuck any there, I recommend YouTube. You'll be able to, how do you create a label for, my first shipment on Amazon? There's going to be a couple of YouTube videos on that. It's trivial stuff, like it is stuff that you have to walk the process the first time to learn it, but it's not necessarily as strategic, right? Yeah, Tim, so I would say it's like ideally you're going to send the majority of your inventory directly to Amazon. So you can work with a logistics company to send it to a 3PL, maybe not to your home or something. That might save you a little bit of cost. Depends if it's a bulky product, where you live. But bouncing it off your house is generally going to be more expensive. You're going to add some amount of cost per unit, and you're going to eat your profits. There's a 3PL called Tactical Logistics that we use out of California. Seller Systems members get like 2 free months of storage, which is great. They know their stuff. They can help you with the China to US logistics as well. There's also a company that I know that I'm friends with the founder who ships directly from China to Amazon for you, and they store in China. That's called SKU Drop. There's also a discount if you use Seller Systems as a code, I believe. So you have a discount there as well. So those are both efficient ways. The other one is that you use Amazon Global Logistics, AGL, and you let Amazon handle the fulfillment and shipping for you. So they'll pick it up in China, or you'll ship it to them in China from your supplier. So that's another method. So there are a few different ways. You kind of have to walk through the process and learn what these different ways are and what the costs are. Sometimes you want a blend of those things so that you have inventory more readily available in the US in case it sells really well. You have some in China ready to ship direct, and so you're not paying the high storage fees in the US, and then or bouncing it off anywhere in the US, like so you can use SKU drop. And then sometimes you're just sending your first initial large order directly through Amazon Global Logistics. So you probably want a combination. All right, here was our results from our design. Just to remind you, I stopped at 30 people was enough for me to at least get some initial feedback. I'd rather run a few 30-person polls to make sure I'm on the right track before I go deeper. This would be enough for me to want to go much deeper into this category, figure out the books and everything. Obviously, the books are shrunk down in this image. They would probably be bigger in the included, so maybe the size of the box, like you have plenty of room there to make those guides bigger. I love the designed case that we went with instead of the plain black one. This is just a cardboard, so this does really well, so it's designed. This one has a colored box. It outperformed one of the best sellers, Geo Safari, because it also has the compass. So if you read the AI summary, you really get a lot of information. So option B emerged as a winner primarily due to its fun and adventurous dinosaur-themed design, which appealed to both children and adults. This option was perceived as more engaging and imaginative. Key factors influencing choosing choices across all options included the design's appeal for kids, additional accessories enhancing value like cases or extra items, and the overall completeness of the packaging. So the ones that chose A, which is 9 votes and we need to be aware of, they said, I like the option, looks more mature, looks like the adult version, so the kids would feel like they have the real thing. So dino version versus one that's more like the adult version. So we could do a plain colored one to compete with this one as an additional option, right? But still with the design case, maybe we throw in the cheap whistle and compass and we have a better box and the educational. We're just gonna blow these guys out of the water, right? I like the look of my first choice the best. The set looks like an extra things in it that comes with it. So we get quite a bit. A and B have more accessories than the others. D is a colorful, C is too plain. Again, accessories, right? I think that the main accessory that they have that we don't have are the magnifying glass and the compass. Look, a compass can be cheap. Sometimes they break easily. I think I've looked at toy compasses in the past. It's a tough one to get right, but if you get a good supplier for it, they're super cheap, 50 cents, right? So for 50 cents, do we want to increase our conversion rate significantly? Probably, right? We could throw the compass right up in here. It wouldn't be hard to include it for an extra 50 cents. And how much more do we increase our conversion rate? We got to weigh that. Like, that's the way that I would look at this. But this type of feedback, when you go deep into it, we really want to know why people are winning and why we're winning, or why, how well we can do better. And obviously we can't incorporate everything. We're already doing so much. And then we have to think about, okay, let's look at the girls' designs. Let's put up those pink ones. Let's get a unicorn one. Let's really go down this rabbit hole of plain colors and others. Let's see what a built-out listing would look like. And if I remember correctly, a lot of these guys had extra variations. So we would want to launch with extra variations as well. Okay. Overall, I hope that everybody here that took this class got what they needed out of it. That you at least are down the rabbit hole of exploring, designing, validating, creating your brand or expanding your brand. The game has definitely changed over the last 5-6 years, and you need to be up to date. And it's just going to keep getting faster. So if you're going to sell on Amazon moving forward, you have to be looking at disrupting yourself, disrupting other markets, using AI and tools like Data Dive to do it. And I hope that we're getting the most out of it.